The Harlem streets are buzzing, and the entire hip-hop world is watching closely because Gene Deal just sent a final, no-nonsense warning to Mase and Camron, and things are escalating faster than anyone expected. This isn't just another feud. This is a power move that could shake the foundations of Dipset and Harlem rap itself. Fans are shocked, insiders are talking, and the tension is at an all-time high. For years, Mase and Camron have been central figures in Harlem's rap scene, but now, with Gene Deal stepping in, the dynamics are about to change. Sources say this warning isn't just words, it carries weight, history, and serious consequences for anyone who ignores it. Social media is exploding with speculation. Some think this could lead to a public showdown, while others believe it might trigger behind-the-scenes drama that will finally expose who really holds power in Harlem hip-hop. And the stakes couldn't be higher. Every move, every post, every freestyle from Mase and Camron is being scrutinized under a magnifying glass, with fans and insiders trying to predict what comes next. Gene Deal's warning has set the stage for a showdown filled with loyalty tests, street politics, and jaw-dropping revelations. Stay tuned, because in this video, we're breaking down every detail, from what led to this warning, to how Mase and Camron might respond, and why Harlem rap fans everywhere are holding their breath. This is a moment you won't want to miss. The Harlem streets had never been this tense. Word spread quickly after Gene Deal's warning hit social media, and it didn't take long for fans, insiders, and fellow rappers to start weighing in. Mase and Camron weren't just facing any warning. This was a street-level, no-holds-barred declaration from someone who knew the ins and outs of Harlem's rap hierarchy. It wasn't just about clout. This was about respect, influence, and loyalty. Everyone in Harlem could feel it in the air. Sources close to the situation revealed that Gene Deal's message wasn't casual. It came after months of observing patterns, disputes, and missteps from Mase and Camron, and insiders say the warning was intended to set boundaries and assert authority. The streets interpreted it as a challenge. Could Mase and Camron handle the pressure, or would this escalate into something explosive? Fans immediately took to social media, sharing clips, rumors, and commentary, turning Harlem into a live reaction chamber for the unfolding drama. Camron was reportedly unfazed publicly, but sources say behind the scenes, tensions were rising within Dipset. Longtime associates and collaborators were debating the best course of action. Some urged calm, warning that reacting too aggressively could backfire. Others argued for a show of strength, saying that silence might be interpreted as weakness. The conflicting advice only added fuel to the fire, making every decision more critical and every move more scrutinized. Meanwhile, Mase was caught in his own internal debate. Known for his calculated approach, he weighed his public statements carefully, aware that every word could be dissected by fans, media, and rivals alike. Sources revealed that Mase had meetings with his inner circle, strategizing responses that would defend his reputation without crossing lines that could escalate the conflict further. But Harlem doesn't wait for calculated responses. The streets demand action, reaction, and drama in real time. The warning itself contained a subtle but unmistakable tone. Respect must be maintained, or consequences will follow. Gene Deal's influence in Harlem is no secret. When he speaks, people listen. And this time, he wasn't just giving advice. He was making it clear that lines had been crossed and limits would not be tolerated. Fans immediately speculated. Was this the beginning of a full-blown Harlem rap showdown, or would it be resolved quietly behind the scenes? Reactions from other Harlem figures added layers to the drama. Max B, Freaky Zeke, and other local influencers weighed in, dropping cryptic messages on social media that seemed to support Gene Deal's stance. The streets interpreted these posts as subtle signals, a way to test Mase and Camron without direct confrontation. Every like, comment, and post became a piece of the larger puzzle, hinting at alliances, loyalties, and strategies that the public rarely sees. Meanwhile, fans began breaking down past interactions between Mase, Camron, and Gene Deal, looking for signs of tension, history, and unresolved disputes. Every old clip, interview, and freestyle became evidence. Social media platforms exploded with threads analyzing every line of every song, every handshake, and every public appearance. The Harlem streets and the digital streets were now one and the same, alive with speculation, anticipation, and debate. Sources close to Gene Deal revealed that his warning wasn't just about Mase and Camron personally. It was about setting a precedent for Harlem rap culture itself. Loyalty, respect, and reputation are everything, and letting slights slide unchecked could weaken the foundation of Harlem's hip-hop community. This wasn't just a personal message. It was a statement meant to remind everyone who holds power and who can influence the direction of the streets. The response from Mase and Camron, while careful, was strategic. Early moves included subtle social media activity, cryptic posts, and careful public appearances, all designed to show they were aware of the warning but not intimidated. But sources say that the pressure was mounting internally. Associates close to both rappers noted heated discussions and arguments over how to proceed, each decision carrying potential risks for both reputation and street credibility. Adding more intensity to the situation, insiders suggested that this conflict might not remain contained to Harlem. Rumors indicated that connections in Brooklyn, Queens, and even the Bronx were being alerted, signaling that other local players might soon weigh in. The Harlem streets had become the epicenter of a ripple effect that could impact the broader NYC rap scene. The energy was palpable. Every social media post, every public appearance, every subtle gesture could ignite a chain reaction. By midweek, fans were watching like never before. Hashtags and viral clips began circulating, with speculation running wild. Will Mase respond? Is Camron about to make a move? Is this the end of Dipset loyalty? Every question fueled discussion, and every comment and share became part of the narrative. The drama wasn't just happening, it was being chronicled and dissected in real time, with fans feeling like they were witnessing history. The tension reached a new level when sources revealed that Gene Deal was monitoring every move closely, not just publicly, but through his network in Harlem. Every interaction between Mase, Camron, and other local players was being noted. The warning wasn't a single moment. It was a continuing saga, a chess game in which timing, loyalty, and strategy would determine the outcome. And while the streets debated who had the upper hand, one thing was clear. Harlem was united in fascination. Everyone was watching, waiting, analyzing, and predicting the next move. For the first time in years, the city felt that a feud was about more than just music or egos. It was about influence, street politics, and the respect that defines Harlem hip-hop culture. The week ended with Harlem on edge. Social media buzzed, conversations in local studios and cafes were nonstop, and everyone wondered, would Mase and Camron respond publicly, or would this simmer behind closed doors? Sources hinted that both rappers were carefully crafting responses, balancing street credibility with the potential fallout of any misstep. What happened next would determine not only the future of this feud, but also the way Harlem rappers handle conflicts in the years to come. Fans, insiders, and local artists knew that this was a defining moment, and nobody wanted to miss a second of it. As Harlem held its breath, the drama continued to escalate behind the scenes. While Part 1 showed the initial reactions, insider sources revealed that Mase and Camron were now under intense scrutiny from not just fans, but their own circles. Meetings behind closed doors were reported, with strategists, managers, and close collaborators debating every move. Every handshake, every Instagram post, and every subtle lyric could now be interpreted as a message, a declaration of loyalty or defiance. Gene Deal's warning had sent shockwaves. But in true Harlem fashion, the response wasn't immediate confrontation, it was calculated observation. Sources confirmed that Mase's camp was monitoring social media trends, analyzing public sentiment, and preparing a multi-step response that balanced street credibility with personal brand protection. Camron, on the other hand, leaned into his unpredictability, hinting at potential moves but keeping his cards close. The tension between strategic patience and raw emotion became a key element of the unfolding story. Meanwhile, the streets were alive with speculation. Local studios buzzed with conversations dissecting every clip and freestyle. Hip-hop radio shows in NYC began covering the escalating drama, often inviting former associates of Dipset to weigh in. Some insiders hinted that loyalty within the crew was being tested and that longtime allies might begin taking sides. Max B and Freaky Zeke, for example, were rumored to be subtly signaling alignment with Gene Deal's stance, adding layers of pressure on Mase and Camron. Social media erupted as snippets of past interactions resurfaced. Fans highlighted moments where Camron and Mase seemed dismissive or dismissively playful, interpreting them as potential provocations. Twitter threads, TikTok reactions, and YouTube commentary exploded, each platform fueling the narrative further. Rumors swirled that these posts were no accident, subtle signs of a carefully orchestrated chess game. Every like and comment was analyzed as though it were a strategic move on the Harlem streets. Insider sources also revealed a brewing discussion among local influencers and rappers outside of Harlem. Connections in Brooklyn, the Bronx, and Queens reportedly weighed in, signaling that what began as a Harlem warning could expand into a citywide drama. The potential fallout had implications far beyond Mase and Camron themselves, creating a ripple effect that had the broader NYC hip-hop community on alert. Gene Deal, reportedly, was not just watching. He was actively strategizing next steps, communicating with key figures to ensure that the message landed firmly. Sources close to him revealed that the warning wasn't just about asserting authority, it was also about testing the true loyalty of Harlem's power players. Could Mase and Camron navigate the pressure without alienating supporters? Could they respond without losing credibility? These were questions fans and insiders debated endlessly online. The drama took another turn when a leaked clip surfaced of Camron in a studio session, seemingly addressing the warning without naming names. The line, subtle yet sharp, sent fans into a frenzy. "You think I'm scared?" the lyrics implied. Analysts broke down every word, noting references that could be interpreted as direct responses to Gene Deal's warning. The streets read between the lines, debating whether Camron was taking a stand or testing the boundaries. Mase's response, while more calculated, carried its own weight. Sources revealed he was working on multiple fronts, behind-the-scenes discussions, media strategy, and potential collaborations, all designed to maintain respect while avoiding public escalation. In the eyes of Harlem insiders, this strategic patience might be Mase's most powerful move yet, signaling that he's aware of the warning, but not letting emotion dictate his actions. As the week unfolded, fan communities online became microcosms of Harlem's tension. Every rumor, post, and comment was dissected as though it were evidence of the next move. Social media analysts noticed spikes in engagement, particularly around posts that hinted at hidden alliances and potential fallout. Even casual fans became armchair strategists, predicting which moves would come next and how the feud might evolve. Adding to the suspense, insider reports suggested that other Harlem figures were now quietly observing, some ready to intervene if necessary. Names like Freaky Zeke, Max B, and even younger rappers in the scene were allegedly weighing alliances, calculating which side could strengthen their influence in the city's rap hierarchy. The subtle tension between public performance and private negotiation became a defining feature of this drama. By midweek, it was clear that Gene Deal's warning had accomplished its goal. It shifted the balance of attention, power, and scrutiny directly onto Mase and Camron. Harlem's rap community had become the stage, and social media the arena. Every move was under the microscope, every statement a potential headline, and every gesture a measure of loyalty or defiance. The streets whispered about the potential next steps. Would Mase or Camron escalate? Would they reconcile? Or would this evolve into a multi-layered feud, dragging in other Harlem names and reshaping alliances? Sources hinted that both camps were preparing for multiple scenarios, aware that one misstep could dramatically shift the narrative. Meanwhile, outside Harlem, music executives and collaborators were also paying attention. The industry was acutely aware that public perception and street credibility could influence album sales, collaborations, and endorsements. Every subtle action, from a studio appearance to a social media post, was now part of a broader strategic landscape. The drama wasn't confined to the streets anymore, it was spilling into business, media, and entertainment spheres. Fans continued to speculate and debate. Hashtags started trending across platforms, with some supporters rallying for Mase and others for Camron. The conversation wasn't just about loyalty, it was about identity, respect, and the essence of Harlem rap culture itself. Analysts and insiders commented on how Gene Deal's warning had reignited a discussion on the values, politics, and power dynamics of the city's hip-hop scene. One thing is certain: the streets are watching, the fans are invested, and the next moves by Mase, Camron, and Gene Deal will define not only this feud, but the future of Harlem's rap hierarchy. No one can predict exactly what will happen next, but the tension, the suspense, and the stakes have never been higher. The tension in Harlem reached an all-time high as the week progressed. With fans, insiders, and the media glued to every post and interview, Mase and Camron were no longer just navigating personal conflicts. They were steering a full-blown cultural storm. Gene Deal's final warning had set the stage, and now, every action, every word, and every subtle gesture could tip the balance of power. In the aftermath of the warning, sources close to Camron revealed that he had retreated into the studio, working on new tracks that many believed contained veiled responses. The lyrics were sharp, ambiguous, and strategically crafted to address his critics without direct confrontation. Analysts suggested that this was Camron's way of asserting dominance while avoiding unnecessary escalation. Each bar was dissected by fans online, and social media exploded with speculation over hidden meanings, references, and subliminal messages. Mase, on the other hand, took a more calculated approach. Reports confirmed that he had met with key Harlem influencers and advisors to evaluate his next moves. Unlike Camron's lyrical approach, Mase leaned into diplomacy, quietly signaling that he was listening but unwilling to be provoked into rash decisions. This calm, measured response only added another layer of intrigue, as observers debated whether Mase's patience was a strength or a sign of hesitation. The streets, as always, were not silent. Neighborhoods in Harlem buzzed with conversations dissecting the feud. Local studios and lounges became informal war rooms, with fans and aspiring artists analyzing old interviews, past collaborations, and even minor social media interactions. According to insiders, these discussions were fueling a hyper-aware culture of anticipation, with every participant eager to predict the next development. Unexpectedly, a leaked video surfaced showing a tense interaction between Camron and one of Gene Deal's close associates. The clip was brief, but the body language and choice of words suggested mutual respect, mixed with underlying tension. Fans went wild, debating whether it signaled a truce, a confrontation, or a strategic standoff. The speculation alone drove engagement across YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, demonstrating the power of subtlety in Harlem drama. Meanwhile, Gene Deal continued to monitor the fallout closely. Sources confirmed that he was not just issuing warnings. He was studying alliances, testing loyalties, and subtly influencing the narrative without appearing to intervene directly. This masterful orchestration underscored why his warning had been so effective. It wasn't just a statement. It was a psychological maneuver designed to reshape the Harlem rap landscape. Elsewhere in the city, former Dipset members and collaborators quietly weighed their positions. Max B, Freaky Zeke, and other Harlem veterans were observed subtly signaling support, creating a web of influence that could determine the next moves for Mase and Camron. Social media posts, likes, and cryptic comments became chess moves in this high-stakes game, with fans dissecting every digital trace. The tension spilled into the mainstream media. Hip-hop radio shows, podcasts, and YouTube channels began covering the feud extensively. Analysts debated not just the warning itself, but its broader implications for Harlem culture and the rap industry at large. Could Mase and Camron survive a public scrutiny of this magnitude? Could Gene Deal's influence spark a ripple effect that would redefine loyalty, collaboration, and hierarchy in Harlem? These questions dominated headlines and discussions for days. In a dramatic turn, Camron released a subtle video snippet online, showing him in the studio with lyrics that reference respect, loyalty, and survival. Fans immediately interpreted it as a direct response to the warning, though Camron never mentioned Gene Deal or Mase explicitly. The ambiguity sparked debate. Was this a peace offering, a challenge, or merely a flex of influence? Analysts dissected every angle, and fans across platforms engaged in heated discussions, keeping the momentum alive. Mase's camp, in turn, responded with careful precision. While there were no public statements, insiders revealed strategic moves behind the scenes, collaborations with respected Harlem artists, private interviews, and carefully timed social media activity designed to maintain credibility while avoiding overt confrontation. The contrast between Camron's lyrical approach and Mase's calculated diplomacy created a dynamic narrative, keeping fans invested and the streets talking. As the saga unfolded, it became clear that this was no longer just about personal grievances. It had become a cultural event with long-term implications. The feud highlighted the fragility of alliances, the power of influence, and the intensity of Harlem's hip-hop ecosystem. Every move by Mase, Camron, or Gene Deal was now part of a larger story that could shape careers, reputations, and the perception of loyalty for years to come. The climax of this drama emerged when insider reports suggested that a potential meeting between Mase, Camron, and Gene Deal could happen in the near future. While nothing was confirmed, the speculation alone caused waves online. Fans debated every possible outcome. Would it be a truce, a public showdown, or an elaborate power play? The city of Harlem and the global hip-hop community waited with bated breath, knowing that whatever happened next could redefine the rules of street politics and musical respect. Finally, as the week came to a close, the overall impact of Gene Deal's warning became undeniable. It had reignited discussions about loyalty, respect, and strategy in Harlem, forced both Mase and Camron to reassess their public personas, and reminded fans that in this world, every move counts, every word matters, and every moment can shift the balance of power. The feud was far from over, but the warning had set the stage for a dramatic, unforgettable chapter in Harlem hip-hop history. As the dust settled, one thing remained clear. The streets, the fans, and the industry were watching. Mase and Camron were navigating not just a feud, but a cultural phenomenon that would be remembered for years. Gene Deal's final warning had achieved exactly what it intended. It had ignited suspense, tested loyalty, and elevated Harlem drama to legendary status. With every social media post, every leaked clip, and every lyrical bar, the story continued to unfold. Harlem streets buzzed, YouTube comments flooded in, and the hip-hop community braced for the next explosive development. In the end, this was more than a feud. It was a masterclass in strategy, influence, and the art of Harlem drama.